Previously on the Gaming Guillotine.
I hope things will improve upon calling these things out.
Oh yeah? Then why don't you talk about something you like for once?
In 2007, the Rock Band franchise finally graced the world with its presence. It was developed by Harmonix and published by
EA Games.
Piss off everyone. Now, I had no idea that this game was going to be changing my life for the next 12 years. You see, I played drums in Rock Band, and when you get to expert level, you're effectively doing the real motions of a drum kit. So I bought a drum kit from a coworker and was able to translate the physical activity to the real life thing. I found some people on Craigslist and made a band. Following that, I played dozens of shows, performed more songs than I can count, and made memories and relationships that I cherish to this day. Now, to guide this wandering horse back on track, I was a gamer before I was a musician. I made the leap because of a strong affinity for rhythm games. First it was Dance Dance Revolution, then there were a few other titles in between, and finally the Rock Band series. It was my first drum tutor and exposed me to a bunch of different artists that ultimately helped define my drumming style. And so, to honor my unofficial drum teacher, here is my review and ranking of my top 10 favorite Rock Band franchise video games.
You are such a hack. I figured your content was going to take a dip in quality. Why can't you just make an in-depth and insightful review of the individual games?
Because, Charles, you centenarian simpleton, the Rock Band franchise is nearly mechanically identical from entry to entry, so if I were to do a deep dive review of every single one, it would become insufferably repetitive.
You're insufferably repetitive.
As a reminder, this video is my opinion. You are free to disagree. Also, the DS entries are absent from this list because I haven't played them. Lastly, unless otherwise stated, I played all of these on the PlayStation consoles. With that in mind, let's begin with... number 10. Rock Band Unplugged on the PlayStation Portable. While it's hard to say if there are any bad Rock Band games, in my experience, the closest one to that designation is the PSP entry. Mechanically, it does differ from most of the others because you control all instruments instead of just one, but it's not bad because of that. It features most of the staples of the other games in band and character customization, visual style, and even had DLC options, a rarity for PSP titles. But it's not bad because of that. It was also a return to form for some of the Harmonix's first titles like Frequency and Amplitude, where you manage multiple tracks and chase scores while jamming to the various artists. But it's not bad because of that. It is bad because at the highest difficulty on the more complicated songs, it commits the cardinal sin of bad rhythm games. The music doesn't match the inputs. With this in mind, imagine improving at a game to the point where you're taking on the hardest challenges and the controls stop working properly. Imagine how much you would feel scorned by this. Maybe it's just me or my specific PSP, but no matter what I did, it seemed to miss the timing for the note inputs, no matter how on point I was previously. And I'm a drummer. I know timing. When your job is specifically managing and reading audio cues and setting the pace of a song, timing is everything. What I'm trying to say is Rock Band Unplugged would be a bad drummer. 99999! Rock Band Track Pack Volume 2. This one's going to be short for what I think are fairly obvious reasons. In the years that Rock Band was at its peak, downloadable content was not quite a new idea, but some people still hadn't quite internalized the process. To mitigate that circumstance and increase distribution and acceptance, Harmonix and EA released assorted track packs. Now, one thing you'll notice right on the box is that it says it does not require Rock Band to play, and this is technically true. The track packs are technically standalone games with the ability to play all the songs on the disc. They're just more bare bones than even the original Rock Band. But the most significant thing worth noting is that each track pack came with a voucher that allowed you to download every single track on the disc to be played in the main Rock Band games. I'm placing Volume 2 in this slot primarily out of preferences of the songs on offer. It had the most variety of all the other track packs, and out of all the songs, I liked the most from this one specifically. I don't care much for country, but I do enjoy a selection of the classic and metal track packs, and as far as the audio quality of the Walmart exclusive AC/DC track pack, it stands above by head and shoulders.
Doesn't this sound good? Can I be the next American Idol?
Number 8. The Beatles Rock Band. I don't dislike the Beatles, but they've never rocked my world either. They have a couple songs that I genuinely enjoy, while others I can listen to and then go about my life perfectly content with ignoring. I will fully acknowledge their contribution to the history of music, and I enjoy watching The Yellow Submarine, but I still wonder if they were deserving of their own video game. It does serve as a nice musical retelling of their history, and the visual style is distinctive in the series. What I'm not a supporter of is the fact that they locked off the soundtrack and all the DLC songs so that you could only use them on this game alone. I don't believe any musician is so sacred that you can't mingle their music in a personal mix track. You can claim a musician or a band as a visionary or experimental all you want, but nobody likes an artist with an ego, and that's why I rate this game lower on the list. It didn't want to play with any of the other children, and when asked to do so, it took its ball and went home.
Number 7.
Green Day Rock Band.
Wait. You're saying Green Day Rock Band is better than Beatles Rock Band? Are you high?
No, Charles. There's one simple reason that I'm not surprised you forgot. This video is based on my opinion, and I like Green Day more than I like the Beatles. Don't kill me. I was equally, if not more so, surprised to see that Green Day out of all bands received their own rock band entry. But here's the thing. I like punk and pop-punk music. Plus, as a drummer, I find that Green Day songs were a lot more useful for building stamina in practice. I also found it a little amusing that Green Day Rock Band allowed up to 3 singers to play at once. Let's also look at the main reason that I docked points from Beatles Rock Band. Green Day allowed you to export their songs in other entries in the series. They were willing to play nice with the other children. To reiterate, for all the Beatles fans that are likely to jump down my throat if this video gets enough attention, I'm not saying that Green Day is better than the Beatles. I just like their music more. I also like dipping chicken patties in applesauce. Don't make fun of me. 6. Rock Band. Now that we're out of the band exclusive, track packs, and handhelds, let's get down to brass tacks. The original Rock Band, while a load of fun to play with friends, and the entry that really exploded the music game fad, it was a little bare bonesy. While it had a somewhat limited range of modes, nevertheless, it was a wonderful expansion from the foundation of the Guitar Hero series that came before it. Now, up to 4 friends could join in on an assortment of plastic instruments that effectively drowned out 90% of the music with plastic plinks and clicks without some sort of expanded sound system. The addition of DLC songs to the mix in a never-ending cascade of content effectively made it so that every single person's vision of Rock Band was distinct and suited to their tastes. Do you like country music? Fantastic. Are you more of a metalhead? We got you covered. What about classic rock? Fret not, my friend. Guitar Hero may have been a progenitor, but Rock Band was the popularizer. A gamer get-together could now cater to everyone. Guitar and bass for individuals that wanted to focus on dexterity and intricate finger movements, the singer for the screechy center of attention kind of person, or the drummer who specialized in full-body movements that required minimal, if no, thought. Why are you looking at me like that?
Idiot.
Number 5.
Rock Band 3. While the original Rock Band was a little bit feature incomplete, Rock Band 3 was bloating under the weight of all its options. It expanded the repertoire to include a miniature keyboard, it featured new learning modes that if you had a far more complicated guitar controller, then you could start taking steps towards learning to play a real guitar, or you could even plug in a real guitar MIDI keyboard or MIDI drum kit through an adapter and play the song with the Pro mode. Now, I'm going to cite a seemingly contradictory problem with these modes. I can see it being more of a logical step for guitar, but by the time someone is playing keyboard or drum on expert, they already effectively have the necessary skills and basic motor functions down to start experimenting with the real thing. At this point, they are more likely to start seeking out making real music than continuing to stick with video games, and this was very much the case with myself. This game is trying too hard to bridge the gap between simulation and the real deal. Nevertheless, there was still plenty of fun to be had. By the time Rock Band 3 came out, there was a far more expansive library of DLC. Plus, by this point, Rock Band had long established a practice that I will praise from the rooftops, the ability to transfer your DLC from one game to another. However, people who had followed Rock Band from its early stages all the way to this point had likely built up a large library of DLC, and as such, the setlists that came with the game were of such a minimal impression that I could not begin to tell you any iconic songs that were included. You would just go for the artists you already knew. This next point is just a little bit of a gripe, but its presentation, particularly with its opening, seemed to lose some of the bombastic and over-the-top style that it had previously presented itself with. From Rock Band 1 showing an amusing transition of a group going from a small beater to a massive tour bus as they rip across the country, to Rock Band 2 emphasizing multiplayer by pitting 2 speeding cars with full band setups against each other, Rock Band 3 focused on local underground music and seems to be trying to transition people to go out and make real music rather than losing themselves in the fantasy of pretend. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that, but again, I feel like most people that were going to transition to making real music had already done so of their own volition, and this game was catering to a lot of extra features towards a very small group of individuals. I could be wrong on this, but I've never seen a dataset proving otherwise.
4.
Lego Rock Band. Speaking of losing yourself in fantasy, I find great appeal in the LEGO video games. Beyond just the fact that I used to play with a lot of LEGOs, the plastic visual charm and exaggerated situations always provided a good deal of amusement. LEGO Rock Band made an excellent iteration to this effect. In addition to being able to make a little LEGO caricature of yourself, you are then able to play vibrant, over-the-top venues from rocking out on a pirate ship to playing while escaping a charging T-Rex. The visual presentation for this one is just pure, unmitigated fun. I also enjoyed smaller details, such as the note blocks now being replaced with colored LEGO blocks. Plus, when you had your fill and everything was said and done, you could once again migrate the soundtrack for the game to the next entries, a very consumer-friendly option for those that bought it new. The only issue I could possibly have is that because this game is so child-centric, the song setlist had to be equally friendly, and as such, many of my favorite artists ended up getting excluded because of no more adult subject matter. Not that I approve of it, but I understand it. 3! Rock Band 4. Now we move on to the most recent and still currently supported entry. I may have long transitioned away from the series to focus on playing real music, but there's no changing the fact that Rock Band 4 seems to take most everything it learned as far as options and focused it down to a venue where people can still go and have fun. While not supporting every single DLC purchase you've ever made, it does support most songs released to the library since its inception. Currently playable on PS4, PS5, and the Xbox Series consoles, it ensures that anyone who still wants to get into the Rock Band series will have options for years to come. Number 2? Rock Band Blitz. This one comes from a purely personal perspective. It was around the era of Rock Band 3 that I began to transition completely out of specialized instrument input rhythm video games in order to focus on making real original music. But that doesn't mean I was completely done with rhythm games altogether. Rock Band Blitz ended up turning into the perfect way to continue that love. I go to practice and jam out with my mates making original songs, and once all was said and done, it was time for me to relax, and I could plop down on my couch, boot up Rock Band Blitz with a regular controller, and get to experience music in a simpler and less intensive, but still interactive way. This one also plays like Harmonix's original frequency and amplitude, but this time not suffering from input issues like Rock Band Unplugged. It makes for an almost perfect means of quick-hit fun, provided you have lots of DLC, which I fortunately did. If you didn't have lots of DLC, then it only came with about 14 songs. The big downside, though, is that if you saw this and my previous video, then you already know this game is extinct. That means you can't legitimately get it anywhere. And I cry for this. Under other circumstances, I might use this as an amusing point to sarcastically lord it over people or brag, but it genuinely saddens me that there might be someone who's interested in this game now and can't play it. Remember, as the relatively recent PlayStation shutdown threat and the currently ongoing Wii U and 3DS shutdowns clearly display, game preservation matters. That's why I'm placing this at number 2. Not just because it's one of my favorite games, but to draw attention. 1. Rock Band 2. Now, some might be wondering why Rock Band 2 is considered the number 1 Rock Band game on my list. First, again, this is my opinion. And I have the most positive associations with Rock Band as a franchise associated with this game. But let's dissect a few of the other reasons again. Rock Band 3 became bloated to the point of near collapse due to its number of features that it was attempting to include. Rock Band 2, in my opinion, maintained the perfect balance as it was still focusing on the fantasy of rock performance as opposed to actually trying to get people to go out and play music. Not that this wasn't helping me learn the real thing, but the drumming was unique in that aspect. While the guitar controllers gave the similar feel of the real thing, they were still distanced by a few more degrees of separation, whereas most of the physical actions for performing expert drums was basically equivalent to doing the real thing, and one could rely on muscle memory in order to perform as such. Next, as can be illustrated with many other games and many other genres, the first game is a proof of concept and an experiment to see if the market is willing to receive it. The second game is usually where the developers include everything they wanted to do the first time around but couldn't. Rock Band 2, to me, is a complete vision, unhampered by unnecessary innovation. As the first Rock Band was the foundation to build upon, Rock Band 2 is the complete house. By the time it came out, the constant pump of DLC encouraged that there was always something new and fun to play, and the Rock Band network was introduced during this game's reign, enabling independent artists and other individuals to put out downloadable content songs when the methods to do so might have initially been otherwise shut off to them. Rock Band 4 might be a perfectly good means to go for in the modern iteration, but to me, Rock Band 2 was the peak. And there's my top 10 favorite Rock Band games. It's a franchise that means a lot to me. Harmonix did a lot to innovate the music game genre, and I can't wait to see what they're going to do next.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck with that.
Charles, what do you mean by that?
Oh. I thought you pay attention to everything gaming. Idiot.
Charles, what are you not telling me?
Epic Games bought Harmonix to work on Fortnite, of course.
Charles, let me get something perfectly clear. Harmonix, the greatest innovator of the rhythm game genre, was bought by Epic Games so they could work on Fortnite, the PUBG ripoff with crafting, the death point of creativity, leftover intellectual IP casserole game?
Yes. Maybe. Of course.
Hi! In case it's not apparent, I don't know how to end videos. So, thanks for sticking to the end. Tell me what you thought in the comments, do the subscription and all the YouTube stuff. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep your head on your shoulders.